Okay, well today is the day we're going to attempt to raise our topmast, or at the very least we're going to hoist it onto deck and see how it goes from there. The topmast is about 30 feet long. It's made of spruce, hollow construction. Right now the rig is around 42 feet from deck to the top of the lower mast, and when the topmast is up and stepped, that'll be around 61 feet from the deck to the top of the topmast. We're going to move it with a couple of different halyards, starting out with just a gantlin of sort of regular utility halyard stropped around the center roughly of the topmast to help lift it from horizontal position and then up onto deck. Once it's on deck, we're going to transfer to what we call a heel rope, which is a special halyard of sorts that goes from the top of the mast down through a sheave or a sheave, a wheel near the heel of the topmast, back up through a block, another pulley if you like, and then back down to deck, and then it's redirected, and that'll be where it's hauled from, and hauling on that line will hoist topmast up through the two sets of doublings and into place, where it'll be held in place and made secure with a fid, which is basically just a block of wood that goes through the mortise, the hole in the heel of the topmast, and rests on top of the lower doublings. Everyone ready?
Ready.
Okay, let's start taking up.
Coming up easy. We're heel on the ground.
Okay, hold there for a second.
Yeah, bud.
So at this point in the process, with the topmast on deck, we decided to postpone actually getting it up through the doublings until the next day, because it was starting to rain quite a bit. It was getting on in the day. We didn't want to rush it. So to secure it all for the night, because it was pretty windy as well, Bob went up the mast and just lashed the top of the topmast to the main mast, so it was all nice and battened down for the night. So before we see the topmast actually being raised, I want to explain how we're going to do it, because it's hard to show all the intricate details when it's actually happening, and it can be kind of confusing. How do you hoist a spar higher than any of your lift points? So it's actually very simple, of course, and a very old method, and I've built this very rough model to show how it works. So this piece of 2x4 represents our topmast, and here it is sitting on the deck of the boat down there. Our main lower mast would be right about here, and this represents the top of the lower mast. And so this piece of plywood is the upper doubling, which is the bronze fitting that holds the topmast in position. And then this piece of plywood represents the lower doubling, or the trestle tree, which is a kind of wooden square which is built out around the mast and supports the spreaders and the heel, the bottom of the topmast when it's in position. But how to get it there? Well, this is the heel rope, and of course in my model I've anchored it up way up in space just to get it out of the way and for clarity. But in reality, the end of the heel rope is made off at the top of the lower mast. So it runs from the top of the lower mast down through the lower doubling, through this hole in the bottom of the topmast, and in this hole is a sheave or a sheave or a wheel which turns and allows this heel rope to move through here with not as much friction. So then it comes back up through the lower doubling, and then here it goes through a shackle, but it would actually be going through a block at the upper doubling. A block is a pulley or a wheel, and then back down. Here it comes back down all the way down to deck, and through another block where it's just redirected to be horizontal because it's easier for multiple people to pull a line horizontally. So that's all well and good, but if we try and hoist the topmast like this, it doesn't go so well because of course we're trying to pick it up from the bottom, which doesn't make much sense. So to stop that from happening, we use a piece of hardware, in this case a carabiner. So I'm just lashing this carabiner to the top, and then I'm gonna put both parts of the heel rope through it. And so that's redirecting the load path here. And so now when we hoist the topmast, it's not gonna fall over. It's picking it up from the top, even though actually it's picking it up from the bottom. So now we can hoist it up, and we just have to hoist it up high enough that the top of the topmast is through the lower doubling, and then we can just take this hardware off because it's now being pretty well supported. So we continue to hoist, and we just hoist up through the upper doubling as well. It might need a little bit of guiding. And then at this point, the person who is aloft is going to hook on or attach the topmast shrouds and the other topmast rigging. And then when that's attached, it can continue to be hoisted all the way up until the FID mortise here, this lower hole, is above the lower doubling. And then we just use a FID, which is just a block of wood, a bit like this, but bigger, goes through the hole, and then it rests on the lower doubling or the trestle tree, and then this heel rope can be taken off, and that's it. Then the shrouds are tightened, that holds this down, the FID holds it up, the doublings hold it in place, and then this whole heel rope can just be completely unrigged and removed from the mast. And of course, to de-rig the topmast, you basically just do the same but opposite. And again, you do have to use this hardware to stop it from falling when it comes out of the lower doubling. So I hope, having gone through that with this model, when you see the actual topmast going up in a minute, that'll make more sense what's going on. And when it's up, we're actually going to go aloft and look at all these pieces close up and see how the topmast is supported up there for real. So as you guys know, costs on this project have been going up and up and up. So I'm delighted to say that this video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Now, I love living in the United States, but sometimes after a hard day's work, I just want to sit back and watch one of my favorite British TV soap operas. Unfortunately, many TV streaming services are geographically restricted when you live in a different country. But with Surfshark VPN, I can bypass those restrictions and watch all my favorite shows. Beep.
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen my Charles. Is he still alive?
Forget about that, scallywag. It's time we found you a proper suitor.
As well as being useful for unblocking your favorite streaming platforms, Surfshark VPN can also help keep your personal data safe and secure. Enter coupon code. Enter coupon code TALLYHO for an extra 3 months for free. Links in the description below.
Oh, Charles!
Darling, I'm back. Not on my watch. Balderdash!
Okay, so hoisting the topmast onto deck yesterday went really well. We were thinking about hoisting it all the way, but it started raining and it was getting near the end of the day. We didn't want to rush this, but now we're getting ready to do it this morning before it starts raining again. We've got all our lines set up. We've got our topmast shrouds ready to go on the top of the spar after it's gone through the doublings. And yeah, just very excited to see this thing go up and hoping that it all goes smoothly, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah. There it is, through the spectacle. Hold.
That's good. Exactly there.
This is starboard.
So we've got the top of the topmast through both the doublings, and we've just sent up all the rigging, the standing rigging, and Bob is now putting the loops, the eyes at the top of each stay over the top of the topmast to make a stack on top of the bolster there. So once he's done that, we'll then be able to raise it the rest of the way.
Ready on the heel rope. Oh.
So the topmast is up and we're really pleased. It looks fantastic. Bob did some great work with the rigging and being up aloft and getting everything set up there. And yeah, we've just been admiring it, and great to see the rig a bit higher, right? So now we're going to go up and just have a closer look at some elements of the topmast, how it's held in place. And we've also got a job to do. This is our wind instrument. It's wireless, which is kind of mad, but hopefully it works. And if it doesn't, it's not a safety critical item, so it's okay. We couldn't put this up before because we had to pair it with the network down here first, and the network wasn't ready. Now it's all paired, it seems to be working, so we're gonna fasten it to the top of the topmast. So I think that's it. Ready to go aloft?
Let's get moving.
Great. All right, so we're up the rig, and we're just at the height of the heel of the topmast, at the spreaders, or the cross trees, the trestle tree, the lower doubling. There's various different names for this whole assembly here, where we've got a lot of different stuff going on. So we'll look at the topmast first, and of course this is the sheave or the sheave for the heel rope, which is what we use to hoist the topmast. The line came down here around back up before then going back down to deck where we could pull on it. At the very heel here we've got the fid mortise, and this white block is the fid. So that is what is holding the topmast from going down. It's a block of hardwood, I think it's purple heart, and it's actually sort of notched into the square hole a little bit here, so there's no chance that it can come out unless the topmast is raised a little bit. You'll notice that this sheave or sheave is slightly angled and it's slightly offset from the center, and that is intentional. It's to allow the lines to make a fairer lead up to the point where they're anchored at the top there, and also to allow them clearance to fit through the square hole, and that's why there's this kind of score here, so they can fit through the square hole next to the spar. So quite a lot of stuff had to be thought through before we could actually try any of this out. Now there's various other interesting stuff up here. You can see some wire here which hasn't been wired up, needs some more work, but there's wires here for lights. This is the big eye for the forestay, and then we got a lot more rigging down here. These are all our lower shrouds, beautifully served and leathered, and these are what hold the rig up. And then over here on the back of the mast we got the throat crane, which is where the throat halyard blocks will be fastened, and that'll be the strong point for lifting up the mainsail, or at least half of it. The peak halyards go up onto other blocks which will be spaced out a little bit higher up. So that's about it at this height. We've got the spreaders, of course, and spreader lights and the radar just over there. But yeah, I think we'll move up and look a bit higher. So we're about 10 feet higher up now than we were before, and we're at the very top of the lower mast. And this is this big piece of hardware here we call the upper doubling, or sometimes in the UK it's called the spectacle iron, because it's got two big holes in it like a spectacle, and one of them of course goes around the top of the lower mast and the other one holds the topmast in place, and it's leathered on the inside to protect the spar. And then there's a lot of rigging hanging off of this bit of hardware as well: spreader lifts, running backstays, cap shrouds, all stuff that holds up the mast and the rig in various different ways. We've also got a bunch of modern climbing gear up here, which we're using for the moment. Eventually we're going to have ratlins rigged up on some of the shrouds, which will basically be like a rope ladder almost that you can just run up and down. And but for now we're using modern climbing gear.
This is climbing in a professional context, we use a little bit higher standard of safety than we would if we were climbing recreationally, or the way that a typical boat owner might be climbing on their own boat in the marina. We are always connected to the mast by at least 2 safety systems, whether it's a personal lanyard or a primary multi-part halyard or a safety mechanism on a piece of climbing line. This is a progress capture device that Leo is attached by. So we're always attached by at least 2 things, and we check each other to make sure our harnesses are connected properly and our knots are tied correctly. And there's a lot of protocol, a lot to know, but once you know it, it kind of fades into the background, and you can just climb and concentrate on your work and have fun. Enjoy the view.
Great. And it is a pretty good view, isn't it?
It is quite a view. You never really get tired of being up here, especially in Port Townsend.
My next job is to go right up to the very top of the topmast to secure the wind instrument. So I'm going to do that now. Well, the topmast is up, the rig is looking great. There's a lot of other really exciting work going on as well, which will be coming up really soon down below on deck. And I want to say thank you to the whole team here for doing such amazing work. Thank you for watching, and a massive, massive thank you to everyone who has donated or otherwise supported this project. It does make a huge difference. It means that we're able to keep on doing this work, and I'm able to keep on making and editing these videos. So I really, really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.